7 major fears all successful people must overcome.
Okay.
Now, here's one you struggle with, Joe, and that's the fear of offending others.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ring the bell, will you? There we go.
There was no need to ring that bell.
I think there
Wayne
was.
asked for it, I deliver.
That's right.
Zero need for that.
I love when Chris runs.
Stop with that bell.
You've got a real fear of offending others, don't you, Joe?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, well.
You know.
And he can't take it when he gets it.
Yeah, that's right. That's what the bell means. And
Exactly.
you can see how his reaction is to that. So.
Most of the time, small business people are always forging through doors that are locked, and you, when you do that, you just know that there's people behind you and around you that are saying you can't do that, you shouldn't do that, and so that's really what this is about. It really is something that you just have to be comfortable ignoring. Sometimes you can't help it. But if I listened to, and if small business people listened to so many people tell us why we couldn't do something, and probably half of that stuff is correct, we'd never get started. So you just got to ignore that stuff.
And the fear of looking foolish. I know you don't worry about that one either, do you, Joe?
I see it a lot. I don't. Honestly, I don't. Because it goes with mistakes. I mean,
it's similar to what they said earlier.
Yeah, you're going to make mistakes. And when you make public mistakes,
kind of
yeah, you're going to make mistakes. I mean, I can remember when I first got started, I opened up about 3 or 4 restaurants, and the 4th restaurant was just a failure. It was a great building. It was a great location, but I just couldn't connect with the people in the building. They just didn't want to come down. It was a small little sandwich shop. I could not connect with them. For some reason, it didn't work. And I got to be honest with you, I lost sleep over the choices that I made. Not that people were now, because back then I was seen as this, young, successful guy. And look, he had this failure, and I didn't care. I really did not care about that. It didn't bother me at all. I lost sleep over, is my business model not working and can't be expanded? That's what I was concerned with, not the fact that there were 200 and something people in an office building that did not want to come down and eat.
Thought you were a ditz?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't care
about
about
understand that. Well, it's about confidence.
Did you have to say? Did you really? Was it necessary for you to do that?
I could have come up with a different word. You want me to come up with a different? Well, but the point's very valid. His point is trust your gut. In other words, you got to have confidence if you're going to be successful. Go with your gut. If you think it's right, then don't worry about what people think, and just go ahead and do it. Now, the last one is interesting. We talked about the fear of failure. This one's called the fear of success. Can you relate to that one?
Yeah, and it's very difficult for me to describe that feeling. It's when you get everything you want. I've described it this way, and I think you've heard me say this. When I first got started, I had this personal goal. You teach people to have these business goals and personal goals. My goal was to have the Cadillac in the garage and the home sitting on the lake. That's
Yep.
right. Well, when you get there, the fear is, what's next? In your mind, your whole life, this drive, for whatever reason, the motivation, the inspiration, there's nothing left. So you have to force yourself to move to the next level, a level that you never thought you would get to. And so now and here's where the fear comes in, that you're in an area that you never thought you would be and probably never prepared for. So every move, every day when you get up, it is a place you've never thought you were going to be. And that's very scary. And you're there at a point where now you have something to lose. And so it becomes very scary to be successful. And some people will sabotage themselves. I've seen it happen.
Yeah, I have too. I think that's a valid point. The bad part is some people never even reach that level of success, which I think is more what he's talking about. I'm not saying you're wrong, Joe. Gosh, I'd never do that. But part of what he's saying is too many people are brought up. They're taught that they really can't be successful, by just their family culture and how they've been raised and maybe in school, and so as a result, they assume success is impossible. I don't run into that, quite honestly.
I'm going to be honest
as much
with
as
you.
I run into what you talk about.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I might disagree with him on that, because to me, those factors are motivators. My dad told me my whole life that, honestly, that, son, garbage collectors have a really good pension plan and that sort of stuff. I mean, my whole life, I was positive that I was not going to be anything close to what it was that I wanted, and I was going to be closer to what my dad thought I would be. And that was nothing but just pure motivation. And so I don't know that I agree with that factor. Again, it's tough for me to talk about fear of success, but I got to be honest with you. To me, what I find with small business people, you tell us we can't do it, and you know what? That's all the motivation I need. I'll get up in the morning and figure out a way to make that happen. It's once you get where nobody said you could get, and you got to keep it and move forward, that's where it gets scary.
Yeah, it's interesting that a lot of these fears are actually motivators, and we talked about that. So again, 7 major fears all successful people must overcome. We started with the fear of criticism, the fear of poverty, the fear of old age, in other words, that you're afraid to learn new things, fear of failure, fear of offending others, which is Joe's big problem, fear of looking foolish, and the fear of success.
You do know